Our story begins with a flamboyant announcer calling forth Ristarte, a novice goddess of healing, to summon a hero to save the world of Gaia Brande from a demon lord rank S. Although she freaks out and storms out, Rista immediately goes to her and starts looking for the paperwork to summon a hero just like the couple times she did before. A paper falls on her face which belongs for Seiya, the Japanese hero who has unusually high stats. She immediately summons him. No good old truck coup this time, just a fancy circle and hot woman calling for good-looking man who happens to have sharp tongue and would not take any BS. Rista cuts the ideal chit-chat and tells him to say status thinking it will cheer him up, but instead he says properties catching the lady off guard and annoying her. However, she tries not to let his Sigma male behavior get to her and takes the man's hand to go on their adventures, yet he stops the goddess and pins her to the wall. She thinks the hottie is taking his shirt off for some frisky time, but instead he was taking it off to drop down and starts blasting through them push-ups to get 100% ready. Soon the blondie realizes that she forgot to check Seiya's personality before picking him, which states that he is impossibly cautious. Therefore, she leaves him be and goes seeking advice from fellow goddess Ariado, who tells her to make his stay comfortable and leave him be till he's ready, so Ristarte leaves the mad lad to train his heart out. A week later, Rissa goes to check up on him. When she enters the house, she finds him drying zabs of steel and they take a look at the stats and find out he managed to reach level 15 by doing only basic exercises. When they finally travel to Gaia Brande, Seiya tries to buy multiple sets of armor and other items. We are talking about an armor, a spare set of armor, and another spare for the spare. All that just to face a basic slime, which Seiya defeats, though he goes overboard, burning the entire area with explosions just in case any fragments are still alive. Just then, they get approached by Chaos Machina, a level 66 demon who is one of the 4 heavenly kings and most importantly, a chick with some very hairy legs. I know this is a fantasy world, but there must be razors if there are swords. Anyhow, the man starts sprinting for his life, and for the close-up bleach to cleanse his eyes, especially after that frame freeze where the lovely Rista looked more demonic than the goat woman demon running after them. Hence, to combat the demons, Seiya steps ahead and throws dozens of bombs to create an opening, swoops Rista off her feet, blasts the chick with a big sword with his special move, Hell's Fire, and heads back to the Divine Realm to practice his heart out after learning that time moves differently in the Divine Realm. 2 days later, Ristarte receives a message from Chaos Machina demanding that they return or she will execute 1 resident every 10 minutes. Thus, she rushes to Seiya, urging him to move out if the main man is unconcerned as 10 minutes on Gaia Brande is roughly 16 hours in the Divine Realm. That said, he is finally ready. Ristarte checks his stats and is shocked to learn he has reached level 21. They return to Gaia Brande through a portal behind the chick to hit her from behind, but she dodges with a smug face, and that's when her boy tells her he was not aiming at her, freeing the man and his daughter. Chaos Machina then scans Seiya's stats, and although he is lower than her in level, he is higher than her in sheer stats and raw power, so she first powers up and becomes thicker than before, and not the good kind of thick, but the kind that makes you reconsider going back to the loving hands of God, like how this chick did when she ended herself, or so we thought. After she impaled herself, Chaos transformed into her true form, a big hairy demon that belongs to the ugly bastards section, with a punch power capable of destroying buildings, yet our boy tanks it like a champ. It's revealed that he has been using the fake-out skill the whole time to hide his actual level, which is at level 37 with higher defensive and offensive stats that he uses to destroy Chaos Machina midair, burning him and Ristarte, the town's aberration. However, concerned the Chaos Machina might regenerate, Seiya bombs her charred remains with explosions destroying the town, prompting the formerly thankful mayor of Adonif to beg them to leave. On their way out, the man who Seiya saved gives the mad lad a bag of money as thanks, and the summoned hero takes it in a very unheroic way. That said, a great man once said, "If you're good at something, never do it for free." Now back in the Divine Realm, Ristarte wonders how the situation with Seiya is going to work out. Speaking about working out, Rista is talking to the very blessed goddess Aria, who assures her it is not bad to take time, train, and get ready for the next battle since they don't know how difficult the road ahead is, something Aria relates to by a story about a time she was not able to save a world from a rank Begeman Lord. The story is cut short when Seiya storms the room, startling the busty maidens. He has realized that his level increase has started to slow down, so he wants Rista to make him some weights. Sadly though, Rista can't make some, so Ariado suggests the next best thing, train with a god, who happens to be the divine blade god Cerseus. The boys' first meeting is like any other meeting with the boys. They size each other as his power level, and immediately go at it. The next day, Ristarte meets with the proud Cerseus in the cafeteria. She asks him about the training. He assures her that it's not only working out, but working out too well from the looks of it. As the days go, Rista notices the big guy is becoming depressed and losing weight. On the 4th day of training, she finds Circeus hiding as Seiya has already surpassed him. It's still, he refuses to let him take a break. Circeus is now so terrified that when Seiya finally catches him, he throws his sword into the ocean, but Seiya drags him away. Meanwhile, Ristarnil learns from Ishtar that some gods are not born gods, but reincarnated as ones, and that the Blade God was actually a man in his past life. But that's not the main point of the meeting. The reason she called Rista over is to tell her that in response to Chaos Machina's death, the Demon Lord plans on sending the demon Death Magala and an undead army to the town of Semul, where there are 2 warriors Ishtar has foreseen will be their allies. Ristar to take Seiya to the city, where they meet Mash and Alulu, 2 Dragonkin descendants, at a church. Seiya, being the cautious hero he is, reveals that Father Marth is an undead in disguise and defeats him without even drawing his sword. He then thoroughly destroys the body with explosions. In the process, the church got destroyed. Afterward, he checks if the company present is undead in disguise or not, but what was funny is that he also poured water on the goddess to check. Seiya then continues on his savage streak by bluntly telling Mash and Alulu he does not need them upon taking a look at their low stats. Just then, the group are confronted by a group of mates that seem ready to throw fists. The unconscious nun wakes up and informs them what happened. She also tells them the tall, handsome man is a hero, while the blondie is a goddess, and that they are not responsible for the church turning to rubble. The knights then ask the party for help. Seiya agrees under the condition that he receives payment, not to get a nice crip and some maidens, but for a technique that requires a hefty amount of capital. And so the couple flies away. Rista thinks the mad lad's rock-solid heart have loosened when he takes her hand, but instead, what got loosened was the thin threads holding the girls. Anyways, when Seiya and Ristarnil arrive in the area where the undead army is, Seiya uses a meteor strike skill to wipe the hordes of zombies in one fell swoop. Rista laughs maniacally while Seiya summons another meteor, realizing she has hit the jackpot when it comes to heroes. Back in Semul, Alulu tells Ristarnil that she has not seen Mash in 2 days. Heading to Seiya's room, Ristarnil learns that Seiya used the synthesis skill to merge her strands of hair with a normal sword to create a powerful sword. However, before the girls can question his saw's behavior of collecting hair, the party gets a call via a 2-way viewing mirror. Dev Magala reveals to them that he has kidnapped and tortured Mash, who acknowledges his weakness and praises Seiya for being built differently, asking him to save the world instead of begging for his life. Seiya walks up and asks the goddess to open a portal after he praises Mash for not being a complete weakling, telling him he is fit enough to handle his luggage. Just as the alien zombie is about to kill him, Seiya uses the Dimension Blade skill to cut off Death Magla's hand through the mirror and uses another portal from the Divine Realm to arrive there. During the fight, Death Magla summons Dark Fyrus. A confident Death Magla taunts Seiya by revealing Dark Fyrus' weakness is ice magic, something our hero can't use, or so they thought. Seiya throws a punch too powerful, the ghost's color changes, that matches the ghost's punch, and freezes it. Seiya explains that he created different magic bracelets that allow him to use magic attributes he is not trained with, like ice, lighting, darkness, and many others. After he defeats Dark Fyrus, the main man turns his attention to a stunned Death Magla, who is about to be personally acquainted with Seiya's fist, off camera though. Now in Semul, Mash and Alulu are a bit emotional about what's happened so far, but not Seiya, being the chill potato he is, rushes the wholesome moment off and tells them that they both will be his baggage carriers. Mash then offers to take Seiya to the Dragon's Den, but Seiya wants to head to the Divine Realm first for training, of course. It first looked for Circeus, who now has turned to cake making, which Seiya doesn't mind as long as he trains Mash, to which he accepts full-heartedly upon seeing how weak his training partner is this time around. While Ristarnil has Alulu train with Hestiaka, the goddess of fire. While looking for a new training partner for the main man, Ristarnil accidentally bumps into Valkyria, the goddess of destruction. Noticing how powerful she is, Seiya tells Valkyria to train him in a not very friendly manner. Valkyria angrily confronts him until Ariados stops her at the expense of letting Valkyria fondle her tatas. She then arranges for him to train with Adenella, the goddess of war and anime. From what it looks like, look at her. No friends, dark circle eye bags, bad hair, playing the katana, possibly doesn't leave the room to take a shower. She's our true goddess indeed. After 3 days of training, Mash is improved, while Alulu's training has mostly failed due to her having no affinity for flame magic. As the party is about to leave, Adenella asks Seiya if she can come with him. Seiya bluntly rejects her offer and her cake, throwing the change lowly into a homicidal rage fit, which doesn't seem to bother Seiya, as he says his catchphrase, "I'm perfectly prepared. I'm 100% ready for this." When they step back to the other world, Seiya flexes his new tech, a Fire Phoenix, that automatically one-shots monsters under level 30 around them. The party makes its way to a nearby village, where they buy essential materials from a local dwarf for the journey ahead. When they finally reach the cave that leads to the dragon village, Seiya destroys the gate with a technique he learned from the goddess of war, to then enter a room with a magical circle gate in the center to transport people into the village. But the cautious hero is not trusted, so uses a lizard to see if it's a trap, which proves to be not. When they finally arrive at the dragon village, they meet Lagos, who escorts them to see Leviae, the Great Mother of Dragons. The Great Mother shows Mash how to transform into a dragon, then Alulu asks to be transformed as well, but Leviae tells her that she is fated to become a mighty weapon wielded by the hero to defeat a demon king. Leviae explains to the party a legend that states the demon lord can only be defeated using the legendary sword, which can only be forged when a female driving kid of human appearance offers her life. When Mash protests, Leviae reveals that the demon lord's forces control 70% of Gabrande, and thanks the little girl for her sacrifice without asking her if she wants to die or not. Sweat Alulu bows her head, accepting her fate and showing so many mixed feelings, as she wants to be helpful, not get in the way, but at the same time wants to live. Leviae then offers everyone a feast before conducting the sacred sword ceremony. The group steps out of the castle, strolling the streets, and discussing the situation. Everyone aside from Seiya, who is currently threatening a dragon merchant if his speed-up seeds turn fake, he will burn his shop down. When confronted for his lack of empathy towards the situation, the hero responds, "There is nothing to consider, she gotta do what she's gotta do." Later that night, Ristarte, Seiya, and Mash are enjoying the feast. The feast ends when Alulu appears wearing her fancy dress and necklace walking on a bridge, ready to jump in the pit. Mash's heart cannot handle a moment, so he tries to stop it, but two big beefy boys block him. Wooloo starts having second thoughts, so Mother Booba sends 2 guards to give the girl a push, turning a sacrifice ritual into a murder ritual. But fear not, our boy already had gone through his ninja training as we see him behind the guards, ready to save the day. When asked for his reasons, Seiya answered, "Someone needs to carry the equipment and a sword sure can't carry them." He then adds their destinies mean nothing, the kids already made a commitment for him, and a legend made up by an old dragon might as well be Power Trip, aka BS. However, this grandstand soon turns into a grand layover when the home team falls to its knees. Levi reveals she anticipated this might happen, so she laced their food to the paralytic. A very genius plan that fooled everyone except, of course, Seiya. You see the main man being the impossibly cautious hero he is only pretended to eat what they gave to him, adding that you would never take food made by scaly lizards because it's simply disgusting, adding the only food you would digest is the one made by Blondie herself, making Rista blush while Pine in a Saw's position. Levi decides to confront Seiya, who came prepared. And by prepared, we mean holding a dragon-slaying sword made from a special blade, hair from the Dragon King kids, and 100 strands of hair he picked off the goddess's head, which in turn raises so many questions that shall be put on hold till he finishes with the trap dragon, who put a curse on sweet Alulu. Considering that she is mounted with the Demon King, Seiya asks the trap to lift the curse, but she refuses and doubles down by turning into a golden drag with more defensive stats. Seiya powers up using all the speed-up seeds he bought earlier. The MC unleashed a barrage of attacks on Levi head-on. Although the attacks are seemingly only tickling her, it appears the force behind them was just enough to push her back to the edge of the pit, till she is about to fall into the abyss, forcing her to surrender. Yeah, not actually. She only lifts her defenses to attack back and fly, which proved to be a big mistake as it allowed the man to damage her wings and fall to her end, or better yet, fall to her new form as the legendary sword fated to be wielded by the chosen hero. Once the party leaves the village, Seiya admits to Ristarte that the sword he acquired is not the legendary one, just a special sword he made before for that moment. Now outside, the gang got confronted by a group of knights. The Rose Guard Imperial Knights asked the party to help them fight the Demon Lord's forces at Olga Fortress, so Seiya accepts and asks for directions to the castle, before flying there with his party in front of everyone shocked. Once they arrive in the area, they see Beelzebub talking, demanding to see the hero. Seiya hides behind a tree not because he's afraid, but because he is disgusted by how the insect can talk with that mouth. Disgust soon turns to caution when hordes of flies swoop in and kill several knights. Afterward, the party meets up with Rosalie Roseguard, who seems to charge head-on to fist it out with the bugs. Luckily though, one of the commanders states that they need to devise a plan while the soldiers rest, so they head to Olga Fortress. Inside, the council hold a strategy meeting. However, Seiya feels that the best course of action is for him to head back to Divine Realm. If the princess protests, as well as a council thinking the training will take 3 days, but then Rissa explains in the Divine Realm time moves slower, so in other words, it will be gone for an hour. putting the minds of the councilmen at ease. However, not Rose, who is way too angry about her mate's death. So when Seda calls Rosalie out for being too reckless, she angrily attempts to slap him, but the main man pulls an Uno reverse card, slapping the generic isekai art style off her face and turning her into a JoJo character before continually slapping her till her cheeks turn to swollen. In the Divine Realm, Seiya asked Ristarde to introduce him to a god who can help him. She takes him to the Verna Forest to meet Metis, the goddess of archery. While Seiya is training, Ristarde, Mash, and Alulu run into Cerseus, who tells them that Adanella is still angry with Seiya. Now at Aria's house, the busty queen senses some dormant powers inside Mash and Alulu. Ristarde then heads to Adanella's house to check on her, only to be spoke by the wall decorations and then by Adanella herself. Thus she sprints right away to warn Seiya, not realizing she is standing behind her like a demon ready to spill blood. However, he is able to calm her down by just petting her head to the point where she turns from a murderous demon to an angelic lowly. Meanwhile, the hot Metis was watching from afar with a devilish smile. At Ariado's house, Ariado shows Ristartes some of the dormant powers that Mash and Alulu have unlocked. While Mash can turn parts of him into a dragon on command, Alulu can slow down and speed up anyone she touches, a perfect fit for Seiya, has support. When Ristarde tells Ariado about Seiya's training with Metis, a worried Ariado reveals that Metis was banished because she's a nymphomaniacal goddess. Rista rushes to her beloved before he gets kicked for having a taste of divine glutes, something Rista heavily opposes unless it's her, of course. When she arrives at the scene, Rista sees Seiya perfectly fine while Metis is tied to a tree with no cloth. Their last lesson is to shoot all the Robs at the same time, setting her free in her birthday suit. Seiya shoots but not the Robs, instead he shoots her in the head. After she frees herself, she lustfully attacks Seiya like a Tasmanian devil and receives 3 arrows, 2 to the head and 1 to the mouth, but since gods don't die as well as this chick's lust, she jumps at Mash. However, Seiya's already expected this, so he ultimately pins her to a tree with 5 arrows. When the party arrives at Beelzebub's lair, they see him capture Rosalie. Just as he is about to drop her, Ristarde distracts and Wamina for Seiya to shoot an arrow at him. Once Rosalie is rescued, Beelzebub turns his attention to Seiya and challenges him to land a hit, so our boy shoots 7 arrows that the budget-cut terraformer dodges. When he attempts to attack Seiya, he gets killed. By what, you ask? Well, you see, when the bug dodged, the arrows turned into birds like Phoenix that flew back and attacked from behind, ending the terraformer's reign. After Beelzebub's defeat, his horde gets dealt with. Seiya shot them down with his new bow skill that looks more like a machine gun than a bow, and then stepped aside for the kids to shine, or in other words, collect the insects for him to turn them into ash and dust. Rosalie sees this and mocks him, then reluctantly tells Seiya about a legendary suit of armor in a shrine near the village of Izel. When the party arrives there, they find the village in ruins. They get confronted by the merchant who once sold them essentials for their journey. The dwarf true name is Kilkapul, one of the 4 heavenly kings, who reveals that he destroyed the armor so Seiya cannot use it. Kilkapul admits to the party that he knows he is not powerful enough, so he exchanged his life along with the heads of his family and the souls of the village folk to invoke the greatest of summoning magic. Once he does, the Reaper Cross Definitus gets summoned, and a Runo goofy-looking summon with no stats, just gibberish numbers and signs. Seiya has Ristarde send the party to the Divine Realm. When they arrive there, the main man seems seriously injured, but turns out it's only a small bruise. After Rista heals it, the ghost summon appears from thin air, breaking the dimension barrier, so Seiya, being the only smart character in that series, starts sprinting and soon the rest of the party follows. For every mile they pass, a god steps in to stop the ghost demon, but evidently fails one after the other. The only god that slowed the freak of nature down was the War Loli, who cut the ghost into pieces that multiplied and kicked her touchy. Now running on a brief for their lives, Seiya reveals that he has a plan. On the temple roof, Valkyria is painting when Cross Definitus destroys her piece. Yup, the plan was to lure the indestructible demon for the strongest goddess to destroy it, and destroy it she does with her ultimate skill, Gate of Valhalla, which traps anything and throws them to a realm called the Void, where demons and gods have no power, finally getting rid of it before falling to the ground with blood coming out like a waterfall. Despite Valkyria's warning about the skill, since no mortal can survive the aftermath, Seiya is impressed enough to ask her to train him, and she agrees upon seeing his fighting spirit and determination. Mash and Alulu then decide to head to Ariado's house. Meanwhile, Cerseus tells Ristarde that Ishtar wants to see her. At Ishtar's house, Ishtar tells Ristarde that the last of the 4 heavenly kings is leading an army. The next day, Ristarde arrives at Ariado's house to see how advanced Mash and Alulu's training has gone. They then head to Valkyria's house. Afterward, they head to Gaia Brande, where they see Wolk's Roseguard easily defeating Erisar Kaiser and his army, proving once again old men in the 2D world are overpowered. However, it's always with a catch, and when Ristarde questions it, the old G turns into a child. The party is stunned when they see Wolk's turn into a child, so the annoying princess comes to get the man-child back to his castle. Meanwhile, the party decides to head to town, where they walk past so many fun places perfect to blow some steam. However, Sale wants to continue moving and buy some medical herbs, which offends Rista, as she is the party healer, so she has a competition with the merchant to see whose healing's more effective, and funny enough, she loses to Planks, reducing her value even more. Once they are set and done, they head to the castle. Inside, Rosalie tells them that her father was cursed by the Demon King, turning him into a baby whenever he uses his powers, adding that he does not have long to live. While the party meets with Wolks, he receives a message that the Demon Lord's forces are attacking the capital. Seiya takes Mash and Alulu with him while he has Ristarte stay behind with Wolks. When Wolks shows Ristarte around the cathedral, he reveals that the Demon Lord created a magical item called Chain Destruction, which is capable of destroying the real souls of gods and heroes. In other words, if they die by that weapon, they die for good. There is no reincarnation arc. He also reveals that he has joined forces with the Demon Lord upon realizing he is not fated to be the hero that will save the world. So you went, the next best thing is to be the one that kills the hero with the god killer sword and cement his name in history. Just as he is about to kill Rista, Seiya returns, having already thought about the possibility that it's a trap. During the confrontation, Wolks eats a small menacing bowl and becomes a demon kin. Now back in his younger body, the new Demon Lord matches Seiya's speed and power, so Seiya removes the weights on his wrists to move even faster. Sadly though, it's not enough since the Demon War Master adapted to it too quickly. Rista asks Lulu to speed him, but she reveals that she already did. Wolks appears to have the fight won when he takes Seiya's arm. However, Seiya uses Counter Break, a skill he learned from Volk, which returns the same damage to Wolks. Once Wolks is defeated, Seiya tells Rista to heal him as well as the old geezer, and has Rosalie speak to her father before he dies after slapping her multiple times like a true gender equality advocate. 3 days later, Seiya recovers and allows the party to have fun while he goes shopping for more essentials. Ristarde, Mash, and Alulu spend the day enjoying themselves. When they head back to their hotel room, they notice that Seiya is not there. Heading to Ishtar's house, they find a distraught Ariado, who escorts them to Ishtar's location. Ishtar reveals that Seiya went to the Demon Lord's castle alone. She also reveals that despite his personality and demeanor, Seiya actually cares about them more than he lets on. She then shows Ristarde footage from 100 years ago, showing a time when Ariado previously summoned Seiya to the B-rank world. Back then, Seiya would recklessly fight enemies while unprepared, to the dismay of his party healer, who kinda looks like our lovely useless goddess. When the party fought the Demon Lord, it appeared they had killed him. However, he revealed that he had 2 lives. As a result, he was able to kill the party, including Seiya, Princess Tiana, and their unborn child. After watching the footage, Ishtar reveals to Ristarte that she is the reincarnation of Princess Tiana. While Seiya went back to the human realm with no memories of that world, although the experiences he went through and the regret he felt that day edged his soul and changed his personality. Despite warnings from Ariado and Ishtar, Ristarte insists on finding Seiya and opens a portal to the Demon Lord's castle, taking Mash and Alulu with her to save their friend. Ristarte, Mash, and Alulu arrive in the heart of the Demon Lord's castle. Before they can help, however, Seiya unleashes the Gate of Valhalla. Due to the skill's effects, Seiya's life force begins to crumble. Ristarde demands the full use of her healing ability. With her full strength, Ristarde manages to heal Seiya's wounds in time. Before they can celebrate, the Demon Lord again bursts through the doors. Suddenly, Seiya stands up and calls forth a second Gate of Valhalla that is bigger and way spookier, finally defeating the Demon Lord once and for all. Seiya then says his goodbyes to his companions and disappears with a smile after he realizes who Ristarde really is. Sometime later, Ristarde is subsequently summoned to be punished. She is informed that she will be set to save an SS+ world, which got completely overrun by demons, her punishment for breaking the rules and helping way too much. She also will not have her divine healing powers, and if she fails, she will be stripped of her divinity. Before Ristarde can accept, Ishtar reveals that the effects of the chain destruction were lifted when the second Gate of Valhalla was used. Ristarde receives the note of her hero's information and cries tears of joy when she sees Seiya's name and impossibly cautious personality written on it.